Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this ordinary council meeting of the Shire of Serpentine Jarrahdale, which is being held on Monday, the 15th of May 2023 in the Council Chambers Civic Centre at 6 Patterson Street, Mundijong. I declare this meeting open at 7 p.m. And I'd like to acknowledge that this meeting is being held on the traditional land of the Noongar people, and we pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging. I'd also like to advise members of the public gallery that this meeting is being audio recorded in accordance with council policy. If you are asking a public question or making a statement or deputation to the meeting, this will be audio recorded. Members of the public are reminded that no other visual or audio recording of this meeting by any other means is allowed. Item 1 on tonight's agenda is attendances and apologies, of which we have nil. Item 2 is public question time. 2.1 is response to previous public questions taken on notice. You'll see them recorded in the agenda and they will be recorded in the minutes of this meeting. Item 2.2 is public questions. Can I please ask Mr. Bill Denham to come forward and ask your questions this evening?
Madam President, councillors, for the past 2 years during the football season, we run the Auskick format on the Briggs Lower Oval on Friday nights. This consists of children in pre-primary year 1 and year 2, and incorporates Star Kick, which is children with disabilities. About 220 children are registered, and that's possibly 180 young families. On Briggs Upper, we have 2 games being played, and BMX is also running at the same time, so parking is a major problem. And it's run fairly smoothly with both clubs cooperating with the help of the Shire facilities crew. Until Friday night, we try to maximise the parking along Mead Street and the new Shire parking on the north side of the rec centre to utilise the 3 entry points onto the lower oval. Remember, these are young families, many with prams and those 4-wheel trolleys to carry the chairs and blankets. So back to Friday night. And I hope I'm not going to be told that it's a mistake. What Bright Spark decided to put their own padlock, a large one, on the access gate on the northwest side of the rec centre. This is also an ambulance access point. And what was any Shire permission given? And if so, why? Because it's actually dangerous.
Thank you, Mr. Denham. I will ask the Director of Infrastructure Services to respond to your first question this evening.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you for the question, Mr. Denham. On Friday afternoon, officers were made aware of the service entry gate at the rear of the recreation centre being locked with a padlock that the recreation centre and the Shire staff did not have a key for. Upon investigation, the owner of this padlock remains unknown and it's been removed today. The Shire controlled padlock remains in situ.
Right. Other councillors and the Shire officers aware of the unnecessary and unfounded negative publicity these causes the Shire due to that selfish act of an individual. So we have all these parents turn up and guess who gets bagged out? All you guys. He didn't have anything to do with it. So that's my question.
Thank you, Mr. Denham. I'll ask the Chief Executive Officer to respond to your second question this evening.
Thanks, Mr. Denham, for the question. Yes, we are aware of that and we apologise for any inconvenience caused by the unauthorised action.
What procedures we've put in place to eliminate this ever happening again, because there was a lot of people unhappy where an individual can lock any Shire facility with a private lock.
I'll ask the Director of Development Services to respond, Infrastructure Services, sorry, to respond to your third question this evening, Mr. Denham. Director.
Thank you for the question again, Mr. Denham. Whilst we cannot guarantee this will never happen again, individuals or organizations that are found to be tampering with Shire controlled assets will be dealt with appropriately.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Denham. Could I please ask Mrs. Lee Bond to come forward and ask your questions this evening?
What is the procedure for deferral of Serpentine Jarrahdale rates by a ratepayer? Is a document required to be signed by the ratepayer requesting a deferral?
Thank you for your first question, Mrs. Bond. I will ask the Director of Corporate Services to respond, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, Mrs. Bond. So there's a joint application form for local government rates, Water Corporation annual charges, emergency services levy and underground power connection charges rebates. The Water Corporation manages the process and accepts application over the phone and also provides an online application facility at www.watercorporation.com.au, or you can pick up a form at the Shire's front counter and we will forward it to the Water Corporation on your behalf. Additional information about this state government program is available on Concessions WA website.
So council rates need a form for a deferral.
Thank you, Mrs. Bond. The Director has responded to your question.
And answer the question about council rates. Who reads the questions and statements and authorises their presentation to council meetings by members of the gallery before they are permitted to be read? If in doubt, is advice taken from anyone with a legal background? Oh dear, I'm sorry, I spelt legal wrong. I spelled it L-E-G-F-A-L.
Thank you, Mrs. Bond, for your second question this evening. I will ask the Chief Executive Officer to respond, please.
Good evening, Mrs. Bond, and thank you for the question. No officer or elected member authorises public questions to be asked or public statements. Officers do not routinely seek legal advice on questions or statements. Questions and statements are provided by our officers to the Shire President and all councillors prior to the meeting. The conduct of the meetings are provided for in the Shire standing orders. The provisions that include any councillor present may raise a point of order.
To Serpentine Jarrahdale Shire versus Rich and another.
I don't know, Mrs. Bond. Happy to take that question on notice. To me in writing, or the Minute Secretary in writing after, that would be appreciated.
It was not a question that was submitted by Mrs. Bond prior to the meeting. I'm sorry, it's not a question that we have recorded that has been submitted by the Mrs. Bond in application to tonight's meeting. Mrs. Bond, would you like to ask the third question that you have listed on tonight's list? Under the Local Government Act, we are to provide 15 minutes for public question times at OCMs. We have not reached that mark yet this evening, so I will open the public question time to questions from the floor this evening. Are there any questions from the floor?
Well, certainly don't authority to do anything that I'm not aware of this, but maybe it's say I said.
Councillor Mack, I have the questions in front of me submitted by Mrs. Bond this evening. There is 3 questions. That question that was asked is not one of the questions, so we don't have any information in regards to what that question is or what it is about. The third question that has been submitted by Mrs. Lee Bond this evening is, I require advice as to the address of the Mundijong timber shed and what it used and the cost of this building. That is the third question that we have on record that has been supplied to us this evening for tonight's meeting. So the question that Mrs. Bond has asked will be taken on notice and a response will be sent to her. Thank you. If there is no questions from the floor this evening,
Councillor Mac to use his microphone, please. I can't hear it.
Could I put through a motion to adjourn the meeting for 15 minutes to seek some CEO clarification?
thank you, Councillor Mack. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Duggan. All those in favour? All those against? 2, 3, 4, 5. Motion is lost 4-5. Thank you. If there is no further questions from the floor this evening, Mr. Tomlinson, would you like to please come forward and ask a question?
Hey, Ken. From my standing,
Everybody, I'm just going to query about the sand mining application that's been reapplied for. I just want to know why all the residents in Millbrook Estate didn't get the letter. There's random letters sent out. You say you're coming forward and not hiding anything. Why wasn't everyone notified with the letter?
Thank you for your question, Mr. Tomlinson. I will ask the Director of Development Service to respond if he is able to, but I am aware that there is distance limitations on the area that is actually provided with the letters for items like this. Director?
Thank you, Madam President. All applications are advertised in accordance with council policy. This application has been referred to those landowners consistent with the council policy. Direct letters are only one avenue to make a submission, so the application is also available for comment on our Your Say SJ page.
Why wasn't, the Millbrook Estate backs onto that area? Why weren't all the residents notified? It's the hit and miss with the letters that have been sent out.
The Director has advised that there is a distance limitation and a council policy that dictates what the distance is, falls in the area.
Policy then.
Big pardon?
How do I find out the council policy?
Council policies are all listed on the Shire's website.
Yeah, which one? It's a bit of a search.
If you'd like to contact the Shire tomorrow and ask to speak to the Director, he will be able to guide you to which policy it is and where you can find it.
Oh.
Thank you.
sorry, Madam President, notwithstanding what's happened with that deferral motion, I have some concerns. We've got a member of the public that's raised an issue that you as a Shire President has something outstanding before the court. The applicant is a Shire of Serpentine Jarrahdale. There is a Rich that is a respondent. I think that needs to be answered before this meeting progresses, because I would have some concerns about your ability to preside over this meeting if you have a matter before the court where you are the respondent to the Shire of Serpentine Jarrahdale.
I'm sorry, Councillor Coles, I don't have the information that you are referring to.
So, Madam President, can you state whether you have any matters before the court where the Shire of Serpentine Jarrahdale is the applicant?
Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
Thank you.
So if I was to say that on the
Councillor Coles.
if I was to say on the e-court portal that there is an outstanding matter that's listed with the Shire of Serpentine Jarrahdale and Rich and Anor, you would say that's not you?
I don't know, Councillor Coles. I don't know what you are referring to, and I do not know what Mrs. Bond is referring to.
Well,
that is why the question has been taken on notice.
President Rich, I
and
don't know either, but surely you must know whether you are before the court or not.
I am unaware of what you are talking about, Miss Councillor Coles.
Okay, can I then ask whether the CEO, and I don't want to bring the staff into this, that on eCourt's portal, there is a Shire of Serpentine Jarrahdale against Rich and Anor for a hearing on the 26th of June. Can someone please categorically state whether that is a Shire present or not? Because I do not want to sit in this place if the presiding member has outstanding matters before the court where the Shire is the applicant.
Councillor Coles, I have responded to your question. I have responded to the question that Mrs. Bond has asked. It has been taken on notice. There has been a motion to adjourn the meeting, which was lost. We will be moving on to not.
Okay, I would ask a supplementary question.
Thank you, Councillor
If
Coles.
the Shire President has matters before the court, are there any concerns about the legality of any decisions that are made tonight?
Madam President, I'm happy to answer the question if you like. I took the question on notice, Councillor Coles, because I'm not sure what the matter is referring to, and given it's got some legal issues, I want to make sure that answer is right. That's why the question was taken on notice. As to how does that affect, if it does, if it is involving the Shire President, how does it affect any decisions made tonight? I would think that's a matter to deal with later on. I wouldn't think that necessarily affects the running of the meeting.
Which I would suspect is a race issue. Surely there is someone here in this place that can answer that question tonight, but I'm concerned if the presiding member does have matters before the court, that in itself is concerning. But she's a respondent, potentially, I don't know, but potentially the respondent to a matter that Shire of Serpentine Jarrahdale have claimed. That is of concern to me. Am I the only one that thinks that's a concern?
Councillor Coles, I would actually ask the question of whether you have an interest in this, whether it is a concern or whether you have previously declared your candidacy for the presidency in October, whether this is something that you are trying to actually damage my character in the Shire.
Would you like me to answer that question, Shire President? Because
thank you.
I do not, I will not sit here. Surely you can answer the question whether you have matters before the court.
We'll adjourn the meeting for 10 minutes to regain control, since that Councillor Coles cannot follow standing orders. Thank you. We will be back at 28 minutes past 7.